You've been called too sensitive, overdramatic, manipulative. That last one stings the most. Because you're not trying to manipulate anyone. You're not crying on purpose. You're not using tears as a weapon. But try explaining that when your voice is cracking and your eyes are already wet. The argument isn't even that serious. Maybe it's about dishes. Maybe it's about something your partner said 3 days ago. Maybe it's a work conversation that should have stayed professional. And there you are. Again. Crying. You've tried to stop it. You've bitten your lip. Dug your nails into your palm. Looked up at the ceiling like that's going to somehow keep the tears inside your face. It doesn't work. And afterward, you feel worse than if you just lost the argument. Because now you're embarrassed. Now you look weak. Now nobody even remembers what you were trying to say. Here's what nobody ever explained to you. Those tears aren't weakness. They're not manipulation. And they're definitely not something you need to fix. Let me paint the picture. You're in a conversation. It starts normal. But something shifts. Maybe the other person raises their voice. Maybe they say something dismissive. Maybe they give you that look, the one that says they've already decided you're wrong. And you feel it building. Your throat tightens first. Then your chest. There's this pressure behind your eyes, and you're thinking, not this, not now, please not now. But your body doesn't listen. The tears come anyway. And suddenly the conversation isn't about whatever you were discussing. It's about why you're crying. It's about calming you down. It's about them feeling uncomfortable or accused. You've lost control of the narrative. Again. Maybe you've learned to avoid conflict entirely. You swallow things. You let stuff go that shouldn't be let go. Because the alternative, crying in front of someone, feeling exposed, watching them get frustrated with your tears, feels worse than just staying quiet. Some people have told you to toughen up. Get thicker skin. Control your emotions. As if you haven't spent your entire life trying to do exactly that. Here's what those people don't understand: you're not crying because you're weak. You're not crying because you can't handle conflict. You're crying because your nervous system is doing something very specific. Something that actually has a name. Something that, once you understand it, changes everything about how you see yourself. And I'm about to show you what's really happening in your brain when those tears start falling. Your body has a built-in alarm system. You've probably heard of fight or flight. When you sense danger, your brain decides, do I stay and fight, or do I run? But there's a third option most people don't talk about. Freeze. And within freeze, there's something even more specific. Researchers call it emotional flooding. I call it something simpler. The overflow response. Here's what's actually happening. During conflict, even mild conflict, your brain is processing a massive amount of information. Tone of voice. Facial expressions. Word choice. Body language. Past experiences with this person. Past experiences with conflict in general. Most brains process this and respond with words or actions. Your brain. It processes more. Way more. It picks up on subtleties others miss. It reads between lines that other people don't even know exist. And when the input exceeds your system's ability to express it verbally, it has to go somewhere. That somewhere is tears. Think of it like this. Your brain is a cup. During conflict, emotions pour in like water. Most people have a cup that fills slowly, they can drink from it, process it, respond in real time. Your cup fills faster. Not because you're broken. Because your cup is catching more. Every micro-expression. Every shift in tone. Every implication beneath the words being said. When the cup overflows, the water has to go somewhere. For you, it comes out your eyes. Studies on people who cry during conflict show something interesting. Brain scans reveal higher activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, that's the part of your brain responsible for emotional processing and empathy. People who cry easily during arguments often score higher on emotional intelligence tests. They're not less equipped to handle emotions. They're processing more of them. One study from Tilburg University found that people who cry in emotional situations actually return to baseline calm faster than people who suppress. The tears aren't a sign of losing control. They're a release valve. They're your nervous system's way of preventing a bigger breakdown. But here's the part that really matters. The reason you cry during arguments, and others don't, often traces back to how you learned to handle conflict growing up. If you were in an environment where expressing anger wasn't safe, where raising your voice led to punishment or rejection, your brain learned, conflict equals danger, and fighting back isn't an option. So it found another outlet. This isn't weakness. This is adaptation. Your brain built a pressure release system because it had to. So here's the truth nobody told you. You are not too emotional. You are emotionally flooded. There's a difference. Too emotional means you feel things you shouldn't feel. Flooded means you feel things intensely, and your body hasn't learned another way to release the pressure. Those tears aren't proof that you can't handle conflict. They're proof that you're handling more conflict than the other person even realizes. You're processing layers they can't see. What they call overdramatic. That's your nervous system doing overtime. What they call manipulative. That's a release valve they don't have because they don't need one, they're not carrying what you're carrying. 50,000 years ago, your brain would have been essential. You were the one who sensed danger before anyone else. You picked up on tension in the tribe before it became violence. You felt the shift in the room that others missed. The tribe needed someone whose body sounded the alarm early. That person cried. That person shook. That person felt things first. And now? In a world where conflict rarely means physical danger but your brain hasn't caught up, that same system fires anyway. It's not a flaw. It's ancient hardware running in a modern environment. You're not weak. You're a smoke detector in a world full of people who can't smell fire. And that sensitivity? It's kept you, and probably others, safe more times than you realize. Understanding the overflow response is one thing. Working with it is another. Let me give you 3 tools that actually help. The pause protocol. When you feel the flood starting, the tight throat, the pressure behind your eyes, you need to buy your brain time. Here's how. Say these exact words: I need a minute to think about that. Then stop talking. For at least 30 seconds. This isn't avoidance. This is giving your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, a chance to catch up to your amygdala, which is already flooded. Most people cry during arguments because the emotional brain moves faster than the verbal brain. The pause lets them sync up. What you'll notice, the urge to cry doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable. You're not suppressing, you're delaying until you can respond with words instead of tears. The anchor technique. This one works in the moment. Press your thumb hard into your index finger. Focus all your attention on that single point of pressure. Hold it for 10 seconds while you breathe. Why this works: physical sensation grounds you in your body. When you're flooded, your brain is time traveling, replaying past arguments, predicting future rejection, spinning in 100 directions. The anchor pulls you back to now. This room. This conversation. This moment. What you'll notice, the emotional charge drops. Not completely. But enough that you can think. The pre-frame method. This is the long-term game changer. Before a difficult conversation, one you know might trigger the overflow, say this to the other person: I want to talk about something important. I might get emotional because that's how my brain processes intense stuff. If I tear up, I'm not trying to shut down the conversation, I actually want to keep going. Just give me a second if I need it. This does 2 things. First, it removes the shame. You're not hiding. You're naming it. Second, it changes how the other person interprets your tears. They go from seeing you as fragile or manipulative to understanding you're someone who feels deeply and still shows up anyway. That's not weakness. That's courage. What you'll notice, conversations go differently when people aren't caught off guard by your tears. They give you space. They wait. Some of them even soften. Here's what I want you to remember. You were never too sensitive. You were never manipulating anyone. You were never broken. You have a nervous system that feels more, catches more, processes more, and sometimes that overflow comes out as tears. That's biology. That's adaptation. That's not something to be ashamed of. You have permission to cry during arguments and still be taken seriously. You have permission to feel flooded and still have valid points. You have permission to stop apologizing for how your body handles intensity. I've put everything, the pause protocol, the anchor technique, the pre-frame method, into a free guide. It's in the description. Take what helps. Leave what doesn't. If you've ever wondered why you also feel exhausted after social situations, even good ones, watch this next. It explains why some brains spend more energy on processing than others, and what to do about it. You're not too much. You've just been in rooms that didn't know how to hold you. Stop apologizing for your overflow. Start building conversations that can contain it.